War Room Sports, www.warroomsports.com. What? Ain't no more to it.
Welcome to Inside the War Room on War Room Sports TV. I'm Devin McMillan, and I'm here with a host of my sports friends. I'm here with my co-host Jimmy Williams and the Idiot Sports Talk crew. We got Ezra, and we got Joel.
Hello, ladies.
Now, we're here today to talk about what went down in Major League Baseball this morning. Basically, what we spoke to you guys about last month, the Hall of Fame vote that was going on all month. Today was the day, and the results came back. We were wondering if Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, and Sammy Sosa, amongst a lot of other people, were going to get into the Hall of Fame. Nobody got into the Hall of Fame. So this year's Hall of Fame class will include no one, and that's kind of weird to me. Fellas, what are your thoughts on this whole thing? Anybody, just shoot.
Go first, Az.
Oh, yeah. I mean, because to me, I just don't understand it. I'll go first. I mean, I just don't understand it. How do you not have anyone to get in? I understand the whole steroid thing, but I still think it's a joke. I think specifically with Bonds and Clemens, like, come on. I mean, what are you going to make them wait a couple times and then let them in? And my question is, do they still have like a ceremony or a get-together for all the old Hall of Famers, or you just negate everything at this point?
The get-together is inevitable. But like you said, as far as a ceremony goes, I don't know what they would have a ceremony for.
It's like, what's going to happen now?
Nobody
got niggas again.
The baseball writers are ridiculous, yo. I mean, it is ridiculous.
Yeah, yep.
That's
what I have the biggest problem with are the writers. Nobody's watching these guys. Like, there's no, they don't have an umpire or somebody to look over and say, hey, this is a little crazy. I find it. Biggio, I'm not too upset with him not making the Hall of Fame. For me personally, I don't think he's a Hall of Fame. All right, I know he has 3,000 hits. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer though, because he spent, he played 8 mediocre years just to get to that 3,000. But he's gonna get in eventually. He's gonna get in. I'm not gonna, I don't think it's an argument. Robbie Alomar, who I thought was better than Craig Biggio, didn't get in until his second year. So I don't see how Biggio should get in his first year, and I think Alomar was a better player. But the whole thing about integrity, I think that's what's been bugging me the last couple of days. There are other sports stories too, about integrity, the whole Melo defending his wife bullshit, and this, not now all of a sudden, now that they use steroids, we got to figure out how to put integrity into the game. There are so many cheaters in the Hall of Fame now. There's so many racists. There's so many drunks. There's so many drug addicts. There's so many guys who fix baseball games. Ty Cobb used to fix baseball games on top of him being, just all out and out racist, and he's in the Hall of Fame. Why now do you all of a sudden want to put integrity into this thing? It doesn't make any sense to me, man. How does that, how does that work? How does that work?
That is interesting. But you spoke of Craig Biggio, and the funny thing about it was, out of all the people who were eligible, he got the highest percentage of the vote at 68.2. Yeah. So like you said, he didn't get in this time, but it's pretty inevitable that he's going to get in because he almost made that 75% threshold.
That's a joke right there itself.
You have Jack Morris, who he only has one more year left to try to get into the Hall of Fame. At what point does it become? Now we talked about this one time on our show about the Football Hall of Fame. Now, when you've been eligible for like 14 years, does it take away from? I mean, I'm one to not really care about the whole first ballot thing, but if it takes you that many ballots to get into the Hall of Fame, does it feel the same?
I think it feels the same for Jack Morris. I think it does. I don't understand why would it take 15 years. I think they should shrink that. I understand the difference between a first ballot Hall of Famer and everybody else, because the first ballot, I think, is like the elite of the Hall of Fame, and that's almost like a like a prize you get, being elected on the first ballot. But you didn't play from year 2 to year 15. You didn't do anything to add or take away from your Hall of Fame credentials or lack of. So why does it take so long?
Exactly. Go ahead, Ezra.
I'm gonna jump in for a minute. I'm gonna go off for a minute. First off, you brought up integrity, and you talk about the writers. And the first thing you talked about, there's nobody watching over these guys. And I agree with you. They have too much power. Why are we leaving the Hall of Fame vote to journalists, only writers? How come other players or coaches, other members of baseball doesn't have a vote into this? It doesn't make any sense. Because if you don't like a guy, what was it, Jimmy Rice or the guy from the Red Sox? They didn't like him for.
Jim Rice, yeah.
They didn't like him, so it took him how many years to get into a Hall of Fame? Because they personally didn't like him. You're not supposed to like the guy, and it's what he did on the field. That's what you vote a guy for.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've been saying it for years. There's got to be a different system, a different voting system, or a moderator for this. And you talk about integrity. I remember during the Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire 98 season, all these years, they were sucking off these players.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to keep it PG for the War Room Sports. Okay? They were kissing these guys' asses left and right. They were right behind them, cheering them on. These guys are saving baseball. 10, 15 years later, these guys are bad for baseball. What are they doing? They're destroying the sport. They're destroying the youth. Are you serious? Where were you? Where were these comments in 1998? Where were these comments in 1999, 2000? I don't remember all this.
They were going to remember
all this.
When they were on the cover of Sports Illustrated every other week.
It's just, you drove baseball, and we've beaten this to the horse so many times. The owners looked blind to all the money everybody was blind to the steroid use, where all the money was coming in when they were bringing back the sport. And now it's time for them to be voted in the Hall of Fame. It's a punishment for what they did. I'm not saying it's right for what they did, but it was a group effort.
Yeah, man.
In this, it wasn't it wasn't just Mark McGwire, just the baseball players. It was the coaches, it was management, it was ownership. It was baseball as a sport. So they should be awarded, okay? If you helped them back then, you should help them now.
Yeah. And for me, it's like I look at Bonds and Clemens specifically. Barry Bonds was a Hall of Famer before he started getting the horse's neck. I mean, this guy is in my lifetime. He's the best player I've seen in my lifetime, and Clemens is probably arguably the best pitcher of my lifetime. So it's just crazy, and I agree with everything Ezra just said. At that time, they were bringing back baseball. All of us were glued to the TV. I mean, I watched more baseball that season than I still do to this day because it was exciting. But at the end of the day, now you want to turn around and poop on these guys, so to speak, because it is ridiculous. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And just like Joel said, you got guys who are cheaters, racists, wife beaters, drunks. You name it, they've done it, and they're all in the Hall of Fame. But now, and it's a joke. The writers are a joke. I mean, they have to be held accountable because, I mean, what do you do at this point? I mean, it's ridiculous.
Also, Jim, we got to think back when these, the years that these guys were accused of actually being on the juice, it really wasn't an illegal substance.
Nope.
So it's like they're retroactively going back and saying, you were a cheater, but none of this stuff was on the banned substance list. But and I'm not condoning any form of cheating, but like you guys said, baseball made a lot of money off of this. Baseball pushed this. It was at the forefront of their marketing campaigns, and now they want to punish the guys who basically saved baseball, back in the so-called steroid era. And like you guys said with the writers, it's definitely a flawed system throughout all of the Hall of Fame voting for every sport because, like you guys said, the writers are human beings also. These guys get feelings. So if a guy didn't want to, sit down for your interviews throughout his career, if he came into the locker room and he was a jackass to you, you're basically gonna get your revenge on him by not voting him into the Hall of Fame.
And it's happened. And it's happened. Look, there's never been a unanimous Hall of Fame vote in the history of baseball. Never. How can you sit in?
There's never been a guy that everybody liked.
Yeah, there's never been 100% vote. No, exactly. 5%. Babe Ruth made it with 95% of the vote. So that means there's 5% of alleged.
5% that didn't want to put Babe Ruth in the Hall of Fame.
There were 11. There were 11 writers who didn't even put Babe Ruth on the ballot, man. They didn't even put him on the ballot. Like he wasn't even worth being on the ballot for the Hall of Fame. And we're supposed to think these guys are on the up and up. The human element is killing them. It's hurt the Baseball Hall of Fame, man. You know, personally, look, Barry Bonds is my favorite player ever. All right, I've never seen a player choke up on the bat and hit home runs the way Barry Bonds does. That's stupid. Most guys who choke up on the bat are slap hitters. All right, he stole bases. He hit for average. He could have played any outfield position if he wanted to. You know, the man was incredible. Okay, you take away the steroids years going forward, and just if he retired right there, the man's still a Hall of Famer. How do you not put him in? You know, because you look at steroids the wrong way. There's still no proof that steroids make you, you know, a better player. Because if not, then Alex Sanchez would have been putting up Barry Bonds numbers. You know, where's the asterisk for Matt Lawton and Ryan Franklin? Nobody cares about them because they ain't shit. You know, it just feels like some wild goose chase for guys who could be in the Hall of Fame.
And you know what?
Go ahead, Ezra. Go ahead.
First off, I want to say is I know I got a little hyped up last. I really don't even care about the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame anymore. I don't. I really do not give a flying. Yes, I really don't care. All right, and Joel brought up before first ballot, and it means something to him. To me, it doesn't. You get 5 years after you retire. There's a 5-year clock to be eligible for the Hall of Fame. That means the writers have over 1,000 days to debate, to think about if you're a Hall of Famer, okay? This makes no sense to me. You have 5 years to decide. And then Jack Morris has to wait 14, 15 years. These guys are dying. A lot of these guys are dying waiting for the call. What changed? Year 1, he wasn't a Hall of Famer. Year 2, he wasn't a Hall of Famer. Up to year 15, he's a Hall of Famer. Yeah. These guys are dying. This was your life. This was your career. And let's say you never won a ring. The next best thing is making it to the Hall of Fame. The writers are waiting till these guys die. All right, he's eligible. You know what? He's a Hall of Famer. He's dead now. He ain't gonna get the call. Now his family's got to go in to do his speech for him and everything. It's just so sad, man.
And what does it say now, especially when no one gets in? So we're gonna let you in next time. But you couldn't get in this time when no one got in.
And you brought up the steroids thing. You know what? You want to punish the guys and make them wait, Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens, because it looks like eventually they're going to make it in. I'm surprised they got this much of a vote. Sammy Sosa only got 12%, so I don't think he'll ever make it.
Yeah, he was questionable from the start. But
my thing is, all right, the guys that are guilty of using steroids, but now they're punishing guys that are maybe using steroids, like Mike Piazza, the greatest offensive catcher of this generation, of all time, only gets 50-something%. Because speculation, because you're not sure if you're using steroids. Now that's what I hate. These writers are the judge, they're the jury, and now they're execution earners when it comes to this Baseball Hall of Fame. It's sad.
It's a serious power trip, man.
It's guilty, proven innocence when it comes to the roid use.
And you know what? Hey, Dev, you know what? Every time we talk about any Hall of Fame, whether it's basketball, football, baseball, whatever it is, I always say, to me, the Hall of Fame is when you're able to make the Hall of Fame, that means when the story is told of your sport, whatever it is, the entire story of that sport can't be told without you. And I say that because if you tell the story of baseball from its inception up until now, you cannot leave out the Bonds. You cannot leave out McGuire, Sosa. I mean, those things are a part of the history of the game.
Right.
Those guys are Hall of Fame worthy just based upon that. You can't leave that out. I mean, you can tell the history of baseball without talking about Von Hayes or Steve Jones, but you can't do it without talking about Barry Bonds or Roger Clemens. It's impossible.
No doubt.
It's no way. You know what I mean? Like, you could tell the story of basketball without bringing up Kelly Tripucka, but you can't do it without Michael Jordan. I mean, some guys are Hall of Famers, and they are what they are. But this is ridiculous in my opinion.
Well, let me read off the list of some of the more notable players who were actually eligible and, of course, didn't get in because no one got in. And then, we can give our final comments and wrap up after that. But, of course, you had Craig Biggio and Jack Morris, who actually led the vote this year. Jeff Bagwell, Mike Piazza, Kurt Schilling, Clemens, Bonds, Edgar Martinez, Fred McGriff, Mark McGuire, Mattingly, Sosa, Palmeiro, Kenny Lofton, Sandy Alomar, David Wells. The list just goes on, and it's amazing that no one got in. I mean, like you guys said, like Ezra was saying, with Bonds, Clemens, and maybe Sosa looks like he may not ever get in, but Bonds and Clemens, for those two, if they're just sending a message, we're not going to put you in as first ballot Hall of Famers because we don't want you to have that honored distinction. Okay, maybe I get that, but there's a long list of people, a few of them actually deserving of a Hall of Fame bid, and it just puzzles me how this vote went down.
And even if you didn't want to award the steroid guys this year, what's up with Lee Smith? What's up with Jack Morris? Why are you making these guys wait? It's just killing me. It's killing me, man. It makes no sense. All right, you want to bash the steroid guys? You know what? Go ahead, because I really don't care anymore as a fan. You know what? I think all this negative stories have turned me off from baseball the last 2-3 years. Joel asks me, what do you thought about the Yankees? You know what? I don't know. I haven't watched. I don't think I have watched a baseball game the last 2 years because of all these negative stories. I don't know a specific reason, but that could be a part of it. Okay, I think these guys ruined the sport for me. I think so, and I mean that from the heart because I used to love watching baseball. I used to be into the numbers. Now, the only time I hear about baseball is on Twitter. That's the only time. I wouldn't know Mike Trout without Twitter.
The last thing I just want to say is I at this point I just hope that I think Barry Bonds will be the one, if anybody, to do this. I hope when he does get in, he just goes Michael Jordan in his acceptance speech and just talks real greasy about the writers. I want somebody to address them down on their speech because it's ridiculous. I mean, there's nothing else to say. For nobody to get in, for me, I just find it funny. Are they still going to have their get-together like they have usually when there's someone nominated? Now there's no one nominated. Do the old Hall of Famers still get together and, shoot the shit? What do they do?
Joel, go ahead.
Yeah, the human element is crazy. I think they need to have. I don't want them to make it like a BCS type deal for the Hall of Fame, but maybe computers need to be a part of this. Aaron Seeley got a vote for the Hall of Fame today. Aaron Seeley, yo. What respected Hall of Fame writer could legitimately say, you know what, yo, Aaron Seeley belongs in the fucking Hall of Fame.
It's crazy.
It's stupid. It's stupid, man, and it's killed the game of baseball. Baseball is my favorite sport. Okay, it's the game I grew up playing, watching. My family's Hispanic. You can do all the stereotypes you want. I don't know how to play shortstop, but it's it's my favorite sport, man. And I hate the fact that the guys I grew up watching and loved, to watch. I remember that Jack Morris 10-inning game like it was yesterday. I used to throw a rubber ball off my door calling myself Jack Morris, and my fucking arm fell off. You know what I'm saying? For these guys not to get in the Hall of Fame, I think it's sad, man. And then all this shit about we should make a separate wing for the steroids guy. Should we make a separate wing for Babe Ruth because he only played against white people? You know what I mean? Baseball has been bullshit. There's been different types of cheating or just types of controversy in baseball since its inception, man. Why all of a sudden are we supposed to be some holier than thou people? And who are these writers? Well, what if these writers, what if one of them plagiarized their whole college career, all of their reports, and then they got a degree and all of a sudden became a baseball writer, and now he's a Hall of Fame guy. He votes for the Hall of Fame.
Aaron Seeley, that's hilarious.
Aaron Seeley, yo. Jesus Alou got a vote today.
You're right. Since the inception, man, you had old-time players who were on amphetamines. You had admitted spitball pitchers.
Gaylord Perry's in the Hall of Fame. Outside of him having probably the most unfortunate name in sports, he's an admitted cheater.
Between Gaylord Perry and Dick Butkus.
And Dickie Thong.
All right, man.
And Rusty Cunts, too.
Y'all dudes are silly, man. All right. This has been another episode of Inside the War Room in conjunction with Idiot Sports Talk. Make sure you check both of our channels out on YouTube. That's War Room Sports TV and Idiot Sports Talk. Until next time.
Barry Bonds, I love you, bro.
Until next time, don't accept mediocrity and be steadfast in the war against baseball writers' ignorance. Peace.
Yeah, shout out to Eric,
guys.
It's the War Room with 5 nights at the round table. 5 Philly guys diversified and educated.